Jake Paul fight. What is your reaction when you see it?
I don't really know where to go with this subject, because if I say something, I'm going to get backlash.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down.
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah, tell him this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up?
Floyd Mayweather has finally broken his silence on the much-hyped potential showdown between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis, and as expected, he can hold back. In true Mayweather style, the undefeated legend delivered a sharp, calculated response that dismissed the spectacle surrounding Jake Paul, while reaffirming Tank Davis as one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing today.
Chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into Chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in this sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me, but what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Live, only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
With his signature confidence, Floyd made it clear. While Jake Paul has turned social media fame into millions, stepping into the ring with a killer like Gervonta Davis is an entirely different story. To Mayweather, the hype means nothing when facing a fighter of Tank's caliber.
I'm going to get backlash, because, you know, no matter what I say, it's not,
Okay. So you can't
it's
say
not right. But, well, basically, when you watch him boxing for free, yeah, you can have millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah.
But when you're watching Floyd Mayweather, you have to pay.
it's real.
So, I mean, I did pay per view.
Mayweather has long been critical of Jake Paul's boxing journey. In various interviews, he's questioned Jake's legitimacy as a fighter, insisting that Paul hasn't faced true professionals and wouldn't survive against elite-level boxers. While he's acknowledged Jake's success against former MMA fighters, Floyd believes stepping into the ring with a real boxer, especially one like Tank, would expose the gap in levels.
He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's, you know where his
No,
mindset is.
you get fucked up by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry. It's TMZ.
Yeah, you can curse. You can curse.
I apologize, but
No problem.
there's no way he get demolished.
As rumors swirled about a potential Paul versus Davis clash, the boxing community erupted with mixed reactions. From top contenders to commentators, opinions ranged from outright dismissal to begrudging acknowledgement of the attention and money a crossover fight like this brings. Some see it as entertainment, others worry it could damage boxing's integrity.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You can knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you are saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. And I'm convinced, okay, he's too small. But he can fight Jake at 195?
Many critics slammed the idea altogether. One fan on Essentially Sports called it pure insanity and accused Jake of begging for a payday from Face of Boxing. Veteran analyst Paulie Malignaggi questioned Tank's resume, arguing he's dodged the top contenders. Lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson went even further, saying it would be disrespectful if Davis chose a YouTuber over a real unification bout. To many, the potential fight feels like a risky move that could tarnish Tank's legacy.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna cover this because there's no way they're really gonna, because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds, and is an active, in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing, because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you could say, oh, Jake would be a one-off, side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport.
Shakur Stevenson didn't hold back. In an interview with Fight Hub TV, he voiced his frustration, saying if Tank Davis chooses Jake Paul over a real fight with him, it's a slap in the face to the sport. Man, Tank is disrespecting boxing if he fights Jake before fighting me, he said. For Shakur, the only way to prove who's the best is to fight the best, not chase crossover events.
What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport. He proved that for fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called back on me, so if he won't call back and say I'm not who I say I am, come through.
Interestingly, Gervonta Davis's opinion of Jake Paul has evolved. Initially, he mocked Jake as nothing more than a loudmouth chasing clout. But as Jake continued training seriously and racking up wins, Davis began to see something more. By late 2023, Tank admitted Jake had earned some respect, recognizing his toughness and commitment after his controversial draw with Roach. Davis even hinted privately at the idea of facing Jake in an exhibition, seeing it as both a business move and a new kind of challenge.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like,
yeah, I'd laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making him look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He's really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be in the box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
Jake Paul's stock in the boxing world surged after his dominant win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The fight shattered records at the Anaheim venue, surpassing previous events headlined by stars like Canelo Alvarez and Ryan Garcia. Esteemed voices like Oscar de la Hoya and even Manny Pacquiao acknowledged Jake's progress and dedication. Analysts praised Jake's ring generalship and composure, proving he's no longer just an internet star. He's a real boxer earning real credibility.
Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people, fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this. A lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be a bloodbath in itself. So we're excited.
Jake Paul has made it clear his second chapter in boxing is all about legitimacy. After defeating Andre August, Jake announced that he's moving away from novelty fights and focusing on real opponents within the sport. In a CNN interview, he declared that he wants to fight everyone, especially the toughest challenges, fights where he's the underdog. His his mission now? Build a lasting legacy by facing true professionals and proving he belongs at the sport's highest level.
So everybody's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
No, like, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and it's another win for Jake Paul. He was greeted with boos post-fight after winning his 6th straight fight, calling out anyone and everyone requesting multiple title shots in a possible rematch with Tommy Fury. Jake claims he's just getting warmed up. This was just his 13th professional boxing fight. Back here with Brian Campbell, Danny Vidlani. BC, what did you see? What are your takeaways from this latest bout from Jake Paul?
It kind of depends on what we're judging him. If we're judging Jake Paul as a future cruiserweight title challenger, I'd have to say he has a long way to go. But going 10 rounds against a former champion, even if that former champion is a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was 39 years old and really 13 years or so removed from credibility in the ring, at least Jake had to go 10 hard rounds, which was an improvement from some of the 8-round fights he's had earlier. And he had to fight off a somewhat stiff challenge late from a Chavez who pretty much took the first 4 rounds off completely of this fight and really took a long time to heat up and finally get going. I don't mean to be a hater here, but you do have to judge with some knowledge compared to the rest of boxing. It's one thing to be the best celebrity fighter in the world. It's another thing to legitimately climb the ladder and fight for a cruiserweight world title.
Throughout it all, Logan Paul has remained one of Jake's biggest supporters. He often highlights Jake's discipline and fearless matchmaking, saying most boxers wouldn't take the kind of risks Jake has. Logan praises his brother's ability to tune out the noise and commit fully to the sport. From internet celebrity to an 11-1 record, Jake's journey, according to Logan, is a testament to resilience, ambition, and hard work.
My brother has an 11-1 boxing record. The one came from a guy by the name of Tommy Fury.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Jake, obviously, super hungry kid, wants to avenge that loss, but Tommy won't take the fight.
When I lost to Matsura, I was obsessed of revenge. So one of the sport psychologists, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Sarah on it. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag. Until the point I couldn't take it anymore. He made me go to the Saint Laurent River and he made me throw the brick. When I did this, it kind of releases me. But my point is that it's awful and it must stink like fucking crazy. But you need to focus on the next task because that could be a big mistake.
Before anything can happen between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, there's still unfinished business. Tank is set for a high-stakes rematch against Lamont Roach Jr. in August 2025 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Their previous fight ended in a controversial majority draw, sparking heavy debate and demand for a clear result. With both fighters hungry to settle the score, the rematch promises to be one of the most anticipated bouts of the year.
Everybody really think Tank go take the L. I've been seeing it. They said it's over. They think that this time Lamont will go in more confident, knowing that basically, he's taking the Tank. Yeah, I want him to go in there confident. He's very skilled. Go in there confident. Because you will go up against a different Tank. Like I told you on previous videos, you will go in there confident, think you can walk Tank down. Don't forget, with Tank, if he hits you on that button, them lights going off. I don't care who you is. Remember how it ended up with Frank Martin? So yeah, don't go in there thinking that you're going against like somebody that, like Ryan Garcia, somebody that let's go fold. You're going against Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that confidence is what's going to get Lamont dropped. Because one thing I will say, with Tank, that wasn't your best fight against Lamont. I feel like you was in your head too much, you was overconfident, and you was really just, your mind is in y'all story, the lore, and everything with y'all history. You ain't going there like I'm fighting a stranger. You going there like, oh, this Lamont, this from the same camp, we from the same area. But now I think that whole situation woke him up. You gotta think, Tank not used to losing. He not used to people being against him. He not used to being the one that like gotta step back from the situation. That's why I think he's in a hush right now. Because when you come this time, it ain't no talking. And that's why I think it's scary because we never see Tank in that mode where he don't say a word. I think this will be a different Tank. And what's crazy is Tank used to be like that in the beginning. Like when he was with Floyd, like we talking about Tank with the fade, with the waves, bro. He ain't used to be on that showboat and stuff until he got like, a little bit more in the boxing, thing, of course, once you with Floyd, you're gonna start getting flashy and doing backflips off the ring. But in his beginning stages, dude wasn't playing. He was dropping. I think that's what he's about to go to, bro. And we know that people like, man, did he take Calvin off his team? Nah, like he said, Calvin is boy. I think he's rocking on somebody else right now to get him some sharper skills, to change up his skill and what people know him by. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I think Tank will take it to Lamont. And that's not me being biased. I think we ain't never seen Tank like this before. And Lamont, I see your mindset. You keep nagging about that win you should have got. Focus on the new fight. Sometimes I should have won. You know why? You know why he's feeling like that? Because it's like one in a lifetime. He feel like nobody got no focus. I should take the belt right there. Now I will never get that shot again because you know that boy Tank done buffed up, cleaned up his mess, and he's ready to go. And it's not the same. It's not the same Tank. You mean Tank? You done gave Tank enough time to think about who you are as a boxer and break you down. And it's cooked. Remember I told y'all what's gonna happen in August? He's cooked. And I feel like Tank, he walking him down. Like, yeah, watch this. I'm about to make an example. Because Tank don't want to be able to tell everybody that.
Jake Paul has already confirmed. If Davis defeats Roach in their rematch, negotiations for their exhibition fight will resume. Despite the massive weight difference, Jake at cruiserweight, Tank at lightweight, the proposed bout would be a 10-round exhibition. Talks were already underway before Tank's draw with Roach delayed them.
Me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real or what was to it with you and Tank actually being a thing? Was that something that was talked about now?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
But if both men win their next fights, we could see this unique crossover event happen before the year ends.